So GoPro just launched their brand new next generation action camera, the Hero 6 Black. Is it better than the GoPro Hero 5 Black for motovlogging? Stay tuned to find out. It's Ren's Rides. What is up, YouTube? Glad to have you back, and if it's your first time here, welcome. We're doing something a little bit different today. I don't normally do product reviews, but this is a special circumstance, and I think it's very relevant to what I do here on Ren's Rides. So let's jump right into it. Just so you know, this episode is not sponsored in any way by GoPro or anybody else for that matter. I went out and bought the Hero 6 Black with my own money, so let's see how the GoPro Hero 6 stacks up to the GoPro Hero 5. Let's go to the split screen. Now, both of these cameras are set up exactly the same way. 1080p, 60 frames per second in super view with image stabilization turned on. Color balance is set to GoPro, white balance is set to auto, and auto exposure is turned on. Now, I'm not going to bother discussing the low light performance of either of these cameras. If you know GoPro, you know that you really can't expect much in that department at all, and I doubt anything's changed. And if there is any improvement, it probably isn't going to mean much to the average moto vlogger. But I will say one thing in that regard. The GoPro Hero 6 allows you to set both minimum and maximum ISO, where the Hero 5 Black would only let you set the minimum. So that's helpful. So the first thing you're going to notice is that the colors on the GoPro are much more vibrant, more saturated. I mean, just look at the green in those trees. Isn't it just so much more pronounced? You can see the contrast has been drastically improved, which gives you a little bit more depth in your shadows and just really does make the whole scene pop. It gives it a lot more definition. You see more of the finer details in the road and in the leaves in the trees and everything, really. Just focus your eyes on any area of the screen and there's improvement to be seen. It looks like GoPro footage that has been color graded. The one thing that I'll point out is that the auto exposure does seem to be slightly faster than it is on the Hero 5 Black. Another thing you'll notice is the improved image stabilization. It really is kind of night and day between the Hero 5 Black and the Hero 6 Black. Now, I do want to point out that the image stabilization on both cameras is working overtime right now because of the fact that I have two cameras on one GoPro mount. As a matter of fact, this is the contraption I'm using. I 3D printed this part right here last night just so I could do this for you guys. So I hope you appreciate that. The Hero 5 does a good job, but the image stabilization on the Hero 6 really is next level in comparison. It really does look like the camera's on a gimbal, and I think for moto vlogging that's especially useful. So I was using image stabilization with the GoPro Hero 5 and getting pretty good results, although it did have what I would call a rubber band effect. It would almost look like my head was on a rubber band and that it was being pulled back into the center of the shot. With the Hero 6, that effect is pretty much non-existent. The motion resulting from the image stabilization just works way better and seems to be more realistic and fluid, so it avoids any uncanny effect. Based on these two improvements alone, I'm already thinking, wow, this is a great upgrade. But this camera lacks the one thing that would be a major upgrade for me. It will not do 4K at 60 frames per second in super view with image stabilization turned on. It can't do it. Not at all. Womp womp. It can do 2.7K at 60 frames per second with super view and image stabilization turned on, which is a slight improvement over the GoPro Hero 5 Black. The Hero 5 could only pull these settings off in 1080. So for a moto vlogger, this isn't really that much of an improvement. When you're moto vlogging, you're going to have to use image stabilization and you're going to have to film in at least 60 frames per second. So that pretty much restricts you to 2.7K, which there's not much point in publishing a moto vlog in 2.7K, but it does give you a little bit of extra resolution to zoom in on things with, which is nice. That is an improvement, but only a slight one. As far as frame rates go, it's the same story. Only marginal improvements for the kind of things a moto vlogger would do. If you want to shoot at 120 frames per second, you could forget about 4K, period, on this camera. It simply won't do it. 2.7K, you can get 120 frames per second, but you can't use super view and image stabilization at the same time. You have to pick one. At 1080p, you can shoot at 120 frames per second in super view with image stabilization turned on, which is a minor improvement over the GoPro Hero 5 Black. It could do all those things, but not at the same time. So it's my belief that for the purpose of moto vlogging, the improvements in resolution and frame rate really are very minor and probably not worth the upgrade. But look at that picture. I mean, there are some significant visual improvements here. The image stabilization just takes the cake, and the nice warm color palette, improved saturation, and improved contrast that you get out of the Hero 6 Black, I think is well worth the upgrade. You could achieve the same results with color grading, but with the Hero 6, you don't have to. One thing that I'm not exactly thrilled about with the Hero 6 is the auto exposure algorithm. It seems to kind of overcompensate when it's coming from a dark situation to a bright situation, which leaves the image washed out for a few seconds. That's pretty much the only area where the Hero 5 Black seems to excel over the Hero 6. Another thing is that the Hero 6 Black doesn't seem to have nearly as much lens flare as the Hero 5, which to me is a great thing. So let's answer the question. Is the Hero 6 Black better for moto vlogging than the Hero 5 Black? Yes, it absolutely is. It doesn't look like much of an improvement on paper, but the resulting video speaks for itself. It is a damn good looking camera. That said, this is still a disappointing release from GoPro. It is a good solid camera, but it's not next generation. In my opinion, the GoPro Hero 6 is what the GoPro Hero 5 should have been all along. In keeping with Apple's naming scheme, I would call the GoPro Hero 6 the GoPro Hero 5S. In my mind, the GoPro Hero 6, the actual next generation of GoPro, should have 4K at 60 frames per second with image stabilization and super view all at the same time. That would be compelling. That would be a game changer. That to me would be a generational increase. This is not, but it is still a damn good camera. So would I recommend that you buy the GoPro Hero 6 Black? Well, that depends. This thing does cost $500, which is $100 more than the GoPro Hero 5. So if you don't have a GoPro at all and you want a GoPro, go pick up the Hero 6. It's $100 more, and it is definitely $100 worth of improvement. If you already have a GoPro Hero 5 and you like the way it looks and you have the ability to color grade, and you don't have any particular need for improved image stabilization, you could save your money and continue with the Hero 5 Black that you've already got, or you can buy the Hero 6 and get big improvements. There is certainly no situation where I would suggest not buying the Hero 6. Just degrees of yes, really. You moto vloggers will be happy to know that the GoPro 5's external mic adapter works just fine in the GoPro Hero 6, but you have to do the initial firmware update first. It will not work until you do. Externally, the GoPro Hero 6 Black is identical in every way to the Hero 5 Black, so all of your Hero 5 accessories are going to work. It uses the same batteries and SD cards as the 5, and it fits in the same shell as the Hero 5 Black. So thanks for watching my little side-by-side comparison / review of the Hero 6 Black. I'm going to keep the camera. I think it's fantastic, but I'd like to hear what you think. What do you think about the comparison? I mean, do you think the Hero 6 Black is a big improvement? Do you think it's worth the $500 cost to upgrade from a Hero 5? Questions, comments, suggestions? Well, just drop me a line in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. Be sure and like and subscribe and tell a friend. I really do appreciate you watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure and check out some of my other videos. I've put some links in the end card to some of my favorite vids, so check those out. Thanks for watching. Peace out.